everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Mixtape Matinee Podcast. I'm your host, Cole.
And I'm Court.
And this week, we are discussing some movies today. So, Court, what was the film that you picked for this week?
Well, I picked the movie Shadow of a Doubt by Alfred Hitchcock.
Do you know the world is a foul sty? Do you know if you ripped the fronts off houses, you'd find swine?
I don't want you to touch my mother. So go away, I'm warning you. Go away or I'll kill you myself.
And I actually chose the movie after watching Cole's film, which was...
My movie was M by the director Fritz Lang from 1931.
Do you want to talk about the order? Do you want to talk about it in the order that we watched it in, or do you want to talk about it just...
Yeah, I guess we can talk about it, the order.
Yeah.
So we watched M first, so
Yeah.
I'll just go. M was a film that I've had on my watch list forever, and I'm trying to remember why. I think it's just because the fact that, so the main star is Peter Lorre, and I think that was, I mean, I've been a fan of, like, classic movies, and Peter Lorre's in Casablanca and...
It's a pretty infamous film.
And some other films. But, I mean, that's the biggest one that you'd probably know him from. And I found out that, like, that was his, like, first big role a long time ago. And also, I mean, have you ever... I can't remember. You haven't seen Metropolis, have you?
I have not seen Metropolis.
Metropolis was Fritz Lang's, like, other big film. And it's a silent film. But this was Fritz Lang's, actually, first film where there was sound. So dialogue in it. But anyway, he's just a really interesting German director. And I thought, I don't know, I was like, this week, let's watch it. Because it's been on my watch list for a long time. And a lot of people have a lot of good things to say about it. So
Yeah.
I just thought it would be an interesting movie to watch. And it's a German film. So it's a foreign
Very
film.
dark film. Very dark film. Like, we should definitely warn people. The subject matter is child murder. So be prepared.
Yeah. By the way, I guess we should just tell everybody spoiler alerts because we're going to be talking about the film again.
Oh, right.
So, like,
I mean, but you find that out right at the beginning.
yeah, you find that out at the beginning. But
Right,
if you guys haven't seen these films that we're about to discuss today,
That's true.
you can go watch them and then come back and listen to
Which
what we have to say. But,
I think we would recommend both films, I think. Like, yeah.
yes. I mean, obviously, we're talking about them. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, who knows? Sometimes we might end up choosing a film that we don't necessarily love.
Yeah.
But these were both good films.
Yeah, so first I want to kind of talk first. So there's a scene. I mean, when me and Court were watching this film, when we were watching it, there's this like overhead shot of Peter Lorre's character, and he's running from a bunch of people that are trying to catch him. Do you remember that? And you were like, "Oh, I think he's like forming an M."
Oh, with his running, like the running pattern that he made.
So, and we went back and we watched it, and it wasn't. But do you know what I realized later? Like after we watched it, that shot is kind of a callback to the opening shot. Do you remember what the opening shot of the film is?
Remind me.
It opens up on a playground with a bunch of kids, with a girl in the middle, and she's singing that. Remember that really creepy song?
Yeah, she's singing like,
like-
he slaughter you" or something.
It's like it's a disturbing like kid song, but
yeah,
it's cool because that opening shot is a callback to that shot where he's like stuck in the middle. And it's anyway, I was like, that's kind of
Nice.
cool.
I didn't
Kind of a callback. I was thinking about that later on, and then I went back and I looked at what the beginning of the film was, and I was like, oh, that's crazy.
That's awesome that you caught that. Yeah, the beginning is this little girl kind of reciting this horrific line where it's like, "Will the butcher murder you?" or something like that, and she's like pointing at her classmates or whatever,
Yeah.
and then her mother comes out and is like, I told you to stop singing that horrific song. Da, 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 da.
And like right after the song, it's a tracking shot actually, and the camera pans up, and you see the mom looking down at them. And this film was at the time like there's a couple of those shots where the camera tracks. So like this film
Long tracking shots.
Yeah, there's long tracking shots, but also Fritz Lang uses the camera like a character, or like showing perspectives of like if you were like spying on these characters, almost kind of voyeuristic.
Yeah, I
in a
would
way.
totally
So-
agree with that. Like it feels alive. The camera feels like a character.
Well, we were talking about it later, and
Yeah.
we were like, this seems like such a modern film.
Yeah.
Like really weird. Like this definitely was ahead of its time for being a film from the 30s.
Yeah.
And like sound had just barely was a pretty new thing in film.
And he had mostly done silent films, and you can catch that influence, I think, in it, because there's a few scenes where it just drops the sound, and it actually creates a really interesting effect.
Yeah, when we were watching that, I almost don't. I get what he was going for, but there were some times
Pull
where
you out of it, kind of.
it pulled me out of it a little bit because I was like,
Yeah. Well, for a second, we're like, "Oh, did the audio go out, or did
Yeah,
they lose
exactly.
did they lose the audio to this scene?"
yeah, is this like a restored film or
Yeah.
something? But no, I think he uses it for tension. I think the one time that it really messed with me was that scene where it's showing a bunch of officers walking down the street.
You're like, "Okay, this would have sound
Yeah.
in real life."
And I didn't feel the tension. In the other scene, though, I can't remember which scene exactly. Oh, it's right before they get Peter's Lorre character in that building. I think that's like
That
this
feels
is-
like you feel like the tension during that part. I would agree with that, because you're more acclimated to it too. Because the first time the silence is there, you're like, "Wait, what?" But now we're used to, oh, this is an effect that the director's using. But also, it felt more like thematic. It felt more like on point during that scene. I'd agree with that.
Yeah. And for I guess first time watchers of the film just basically tells the story of Peter Lorre's character, who just takes little kids and murders them. He's a serial killer, and it gets to the point where obviously law enforcement is worried. Like everybody in the community is like freaking out, and they start there's a bunch of hysteria over just kids and being killed, and then trying to protect their community. And
The first like 2/3 of the film, you don't see the killer for almost any of it. It's just focusing on the effect it's having on the society.
yeah,
Like it's like showing like the law enforcement response, the leadership response. Oh, this is what the organized crime people are doing.
yeah, and that was an
Yeah.
interesting aspect, is that the organized crime, like at some point they were like, okay, we have to do something about this as well. Like this guy is he's ruining our business basically.
Yeah.
And so what they do is they come up with this plan to get to basically pay all of the beggars in the city.
Yeah.
So they pay them with food and different things. To basically watch out for like any suspicious activity if any strangers come up to kids, and then they walk away and kind of follow them to figure out who this guy is.
And one of the most interesting aspects to me is the street peddler who ultimately identifies the killer is a blind man selling balloons.
Yeah, which I thought that was a cool take on society, that even the lowest of the low like can make a difference.
Well, and I thought it was almost like it was interesting that all these people who have the power of sight were searching for this man, couldn't find him, couldn't figure out who he was. But then this blind man, and also maybe it's a call to like justice is blind. Like I don't know. It's kind of
A little bit like that, yeah.
yeah. I would say that this film felt cold and cynical the entire time. Like it didn't feel like it wasn't.
Well, I think that could be just because it's German made.
Well,
like the German aspect of that, maybe.
I think it was a choice. I think it was supposed to highlight. I feel like a lot of this. I think this film is about society as much as it is about this child murderer, and I think
Yeah.
it's trying to highlight problems with you know, the society, and with paranoia, and with, you know, oh, and what happens when the law can't like accomplish what it needs to do. And I don't know, it felt like a very like cynical film to me from beginning to end, which I know we haven't started to talk about my film yet, but that contrasts, I think, with Shadow of a Doubt.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning it feels very like small towny and kind of a warmer vibe.
Yeah. And I can see the law enforcement aspect too of Shadow of a Doubt, because they're trying to catch him, but they're not sure. So, but it is, yeah, going back to M, I thought that was super cool that they came up with the idea of using just the homeless people, the beggars, to find him.
Yeah.
And I did look it up, and I guess at the time that was a thing that they used in Germany, because
Oh, really?
yeah, I actually did a little bit of research, and the character that Peter Lorre plays, the murderer, it's actually based off of a real serial killer from Germany.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he had some. I can't remember his name. I'll have to look it up. But he had some run-ins with kids, but it was mostly adults. But I think it was the director's choice to make it about kids and like how horrible that is, you know, and severe. And I think it being a child murderer, that's what got so much of a reaction from the society. Because I don't know if it would have just been a regular murder, I don't know if it would
There's
have been
something
like,
especially like
yeah,
that pulls.
exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say it's also interesting that this film happened a few years before World War II, and then the Shadow of a Doubt is during the war.
During World War II, yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting, and I someone smarter than me would probably comment on how it highlights something about German society or something. But it is in German. We should mention.
Yeah, we did.
Did we mention that? Oh,
Yeah.
Well,
I think it's just. I think the big thing, like relating it to war, is I think just the unrest that German society was going through, and that's ultimately what happened. Like with Hitler getting power, is they wanted change,
and it shows the poverty.
They wanted something different. So
yeah, and it does show the poverty of this like rural or not rural, urban community,
urban setting.
Yeah, I thought the ultimate scene in this film, like the scene that I'm like, wow, is when he enters into that room and the whole town is there and they put him on trial.
Yeah, basically his big monologue. Because most of the film, Peter Lorre is not really saying a whole lot, and he's definitely using his silent film chops. I mean, let me back up. This was actually his first major movie role. He'd only been in one role before this.
Oh,
I
really?
found out, yeah. And I guess the main thing that he did was stage like plays and stuff.
Wow.
In Germany, and Fritz Lang somehow saw him in one of the productions he was in, and he actually specifically wrote this character in the movie with Peter Lorre in mind. Like, I found out that Peter Lorre didn't even do like a screen test.
Wow.
He just said, "I want him to be
That's
in this."
awesome. And it's an amazing
Yeah.
casting. I mean, the close-ups of his face, and you simultaneously feel like empathy for this character, and you feel terrified of this character at the same time. Can you believe that you feel empathy for someone who's murdering children? It kind of shocks you. You're like, wow, because during his monologue, he's like, I can't help it.
Was habe ich getan? Aber ich weiß doch von gar nichts. Aber wer glaubt mir denn? Wer weiß denn, wie sie mir aussieht? Wie es schreit und brüllt da innen? Wie ich tun muss? Will nicht, muss, will nicht, muss! Und dann schreit eine Stimme und ich kann es nicht mehr hören! Hilfe! Ich kann nicht! Ich kann nicht! Ich kann nicht! Ich kann nicht!
Well, the interesting thing about that is you actually, I don't know how you felt about it, but you don't actually feel any of that until his monologue.
Right.
Because before you're like, oh, I hope they get this guy.
Right.
Like, this guy's like a creep.
You're not rooting for him in any.
You're not rooting for him at all. But Another thing I did want to mention about the film is that we did mention tracking shots. We went back and we watched this tracking shot, and I timed it, and it ended up being a minute and 30 seconds, which is kind of
Pretty
crazy.
long
shot,
and it even goes through a window, and it's very cool how they did the tracking shot.
Yeah, the cinematography in this film is so good.
Yes,
it's amazing. I also liked that Peter Lorre's character, like, before we even see his face, we hear him whistling that song in the Hall of the Mountain King.
Oh, yeah.
And that becomes a motif through the film. Like, when he shows up, you hear him whistling that song, and that's actually ultimately what
the blind man
notifies. Like, they finally find him because he's whistling that song.
Yeah, which is I was just doing a little research on it. One of the first uses of a motif like that in a film, which is pretty cool when you consider the director was a silent film director. And
yeah, I mean, it makes sense with this being kind of like at the beginning of sound and film.
Yeah,
for sure. One of the striking shots of the film is so the blind man finds out, where Peter Lorre is, and there's a guy that actually runs after him. And he doesn't want to, blow the element of surprise, and so he ends up writing an M on his hand and slaps
like in chalk.
Yeah, chalk, and he slaps the back of Peter Lorre's jacket. And later they're walking down the street, and he's with this girl, like his next victim,
this little child,
and it's very suspenseful because you don't know what's going to happen. And the little child says, "Mister, you got an M on the back of your jacket," and he looks, and it's in a mirror, and in that shot, you see his face in the mirror looking back at the M, and then he flips around really fast and he looks directly into the camera.
Yeah, it's pretty phenomenal. Yeah. Both films have a couple of scenes where the characters look directly in the camera and it sends like a shock through your spine.
Yeah, so that's definitely another through line between these two films.
Yeah. And I think one thing, like going back to the scene where the whole town is there, it's like the criminal syndicate that's there, and then all of the like poorer citizens of the town have gathered in this giant room, and they're holding a mock trial, which I thought was really interesting. And they even provide a defense for him, and it's interesting because the defense attorney actually is advocating this person needs to be tried in a court of law. This person is insane, and because of his compulsion to kill, that actually means he needs to go to a mental institution, not a prison. And the town is just like, it's a critique. I felt like this was a critique of the justice system in Germany, because the town's like, no, this is ridiculous. This person needs to pay for their crime. Like they weren't going to at all entertain what the so-called defense attorney for this man was saying. And I there was something just so riveting about the scenes when he enters into that room, and then there's that trial and his monologue and the town putting him on trial. I couldn't look away during that part. For me, that was great.
Well, it's definitely the highlight of the film for sure. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. What would you give it out of 10?
Out of 5, so on my Letterboxd. I gave it a 5 on my Letterboxd.
I think I would too.
It's one of my favorite films right now. I mean, definitely my favorite film discovery of the year for sure.
So we definitely recommend.
Yeah, and before we move on to the next film, I just wanted to mention 2 funny things that I thought was funny and that we laughed at during the film. There's a scene where it shows all the beggars, and they're going through the food that the crime people have given them, and they're smelling, it's like cheese and meat, and one of the guys says something about like, this cheese is god awful moldy or something, but he says it like he's super excited about it.
Doesn't he say like it's got a wonderful stink to it?
Yeah, it's a wonderful stench or something. I thought that was super funny. And then the other thing was, one of the detectives on the case His name is Detective Loman. But there's a part where he goes in. They raid.
He's kind of an overweight guy.
Yeah, so they raid a bar, and so there's all these people that just start like making fun of his weight, and they start calling him Tubby, and they just start Tubby Loman,
They start
Tubby
going,
Loman,
Loman.
Loman.
Ah, that big Loman. Loman, 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 Loman,
Loman. It's like it was a.
It's like the whole speakeasy unites together and mock this poor Tubby Loman.
I know, but he takes it really well.
No, it's funny.
But it's definitely a funny like part that I'm going to be quoting for a while.
Where you and I will just randomly probably start Loman.
If you have HBO Max, you can watch M on there. That's how we watched it. But definitely go watch M, please, and let us know your thoughts on it. It's an amazing film. Probably, yeah. I mean, we haven't talked about a lot of films on this podcast yet, but it's definitely my favorite film that we've talked about so far.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, probably it's up there for me.
And
be prepared for how dark it is.
Yeah, and if you don't like black and white movies, and if you don't like foreign films, don't let that stop you from watching it.
I agree.
Just definitely check it out.
Yeah. So moving on to mine. Mine is also a psychological thriller, Shadow of a Doubt. We watched it after, obviously. This is directed by Alfred Hitchcock, and it's film noir-esque in its style, in its aesthetic. And it stars Teresa Wright, who I thought did a fabulous job. She's the niece in the show, and Joseph Cotton, who is the infamous uncle. And then something that's really interesting about it is it's written by Thornton Wilder, Sally Benson, and Alma Reville. Alma, of course, is Alfred Hitchcock's wife.
Oh,
yeah.
I guess I didn't realize that.
Yeah, no. And then Thornton Wilder is really well known for his play Our Town. He is known especially for writing screenplays and stories that take place in small, idyllic towns and settings, which you see here. And I think part of the reason Shadow of a Doubt is so well written is because you have Thornton Wilder on the writing.
Yeah, I think the town is Santa Rosa, right? California.
Yeah.
And we looked it up, and I remember when we were watching it, I told you this. Hitchcock loves California towns, especially small ones, and he loves like the San Francisco area because Vertigo takes place in San Francisco. The Birds is in a small town just outside of San Francisco, and Santa Rosa is just outside of San Francisco as well.
Well, and one thing that I found out about why he likes those towns that are outside of LA is apparently
San Francisco, you mean?
Even
LA.
beyond LA's LA County borders.
Yeah.
Because then you don't have to be as strict with the Actors Guild.
Oh, really?
So that way he was able to hire people who aren't recognized as actors. Like he can hire who he wants, and he can. Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. Sally Benson, the second person who I mentioned helped write it, is known for her semi-autobiographical stories, Meet Me in St. Louis.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's a very cool group of writers. So this all takes place in a very idyllic, quiet Santa Rosa, California. And the beginning of the film, though, starts out with a shot of Uncle Charlie. He is puffing on a stogie, and the what's the word I'm looking for? The woman who comes and talks to him, it's like the landlord of the place he's renting, comes in and is like, hey, and she's very like quaint and like kind of like this down to earth lady. And she's like, hey, there's these two men who've been asking about you, and you see his face change. And you start to realize, oh, this guy's bad news. Like from the very beginning, he felt creepy to me, which I don't know how intentional that was. I think it was supposed to be more of a slow but there's something nefarious about him from the very beginning. He looks out the
Yeah,
window
and you don't-
he sees the two men. He shatters a glass like on the ground.
And you're not sure what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, you're like, is this
definitely
guy
has
a
some-
robber? Is this guy a... You know something's off.
he's got some bad vibes.
Yeah. And then rather than just waiting around for these two men to like come and talk to him, he just goes out to the street, walks right towards them, walks past them, and then all of a sudden it turns into a chase, and he loses them like that. And it's funny because he was just like puffing on this giant cigar, and then all of a sudden he's like running, and then like it cuts to a scene where he's just looking down from like this like platform, looking down at him, and it's like there's no way that he could.
It's movie magic.
It's movie magic.
Yeah, and that's one of the things from his character is he does smoke on a lot of cigars throughout the film.
Yeah. And one thing that I was going to bring up that will be recurring throughout the film is in the opening credits before we even start, this song plays. And this is another connection between the two films is they both rely on motifs. And this one is a song called The Merry Widow, and it's a waltz. And whenever it plays, well, maybe not whenever it plays, frequently when it plays, it randomly goes to this shot of people waltzing.
Yeah.
Which to me kind of pulled me out of the film.
We were both confused every time.
Yeah.
Because it would intercut in between these scenes, and we'd be like, okay, wait.
Why?
What? Yeah. It wasn't until later when we found out the title of the song that it all makes sense. But in the film, you don't quite get to hear the title of the song because Charlie
Cuts him off.
Cuts him
which
off,
maybe
yeah.
back then it was common knowledge. Oh, that song's called The Merry
probably it was more popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so then the film goes to the other location where we find Charlie Newton, who is Uncle Charlie's niece. They both share the name Charlie. She was named after him. It goes to her. She's super bored. She's experiencing ennui. And she's just kind of like, "Ugh, life is so horrible."
Pointless.
It's like very first world problem.
Yeah.
She's like, our family's totally in a rut. And her father, who is played by, what's his name? It's the actor.
It's the angel from
Yeah.
It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, exactly.
I forgot what the actor's name is, but
Yeah, the angel from A Wonderful Life is like, our family's in a rut, really? Like,
kind of joking with her a little bit.
yeah. Let me see what his name is real quick. His name is Henry Travers. Henry Travers. So, which he's great in the film. He's obsessed with crime pulp magazines.
Yeah, him and his friend talk about
Yeah.
different ways of killing each other. But they do it in such a nonchalant way. Like,
It's so
well, I'm not
great.
talking about killing somebody. I'm talking about killing my friend.
Yeah, and he's like,
this is-
but what about the clues? I'm not trying to leave clues. I'm committing a murder, not writing a crime novel.
I'm trying to get away with it.
Oh, they're so charming in
They're
their
super
own
funny.
small town way. So the friend's name, the actor who plays the friend, is Hume Cronin, and throughout the film, they're talking about their crime pulpy magazines, and they're talking about how they'd murder each other, and it's just very fun. And also, it's kind of I think keying the audience in to kind of be thinking about those things themselves.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of wink, wink, nod, nod.
Yeah.
To like what, like the whole kind of concept and plot of the film.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Charlie, the niece, is like, I know what will solve all of our problems. I'll invite Uncle Charlie. And she goes to send a telegram to Uncle Charlie, and she finds out, oh, guess who's already sent a telegram? Her uncle has sent a telegram announcing that he is on his way to come visit. And she's just utterly delighted. Part of this scene that was so fun for me is when the operator of the telegram agency phones the house and is talking to her younger sister, who is so delightful.
She's hilarious.
She's this little
really
precocious child
Yeah.
with glasses, always with her head in a book, always telling everyone why they don't have common sense.
Exactly.
And
This is funny.
she's taking the phone message, she's got her face buried in a book. And she's like, "Oh, I can't find a pencil. You'll have to call back later."
Yeah, I'm not gonna bother writing it down, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And one of the things about the film that was kind of weird and a little is finally when Charlie comes, there is this weird relationship between Charlie and Charlie, so the uncle and niece. There is this weird like
well, let's just cut to the chase.
Yeah,
it feels incestuous.
yeah, it's this weird incestuous thing. It's
and
kinda weird.
it doesn't ever. It's always there's always an element of plausible deniability. But like for example, like Uncle Charlie gives everybody a gift. He gives the mom like a fur. What would you call it? A fur thing that you drape on your shoulders. A fur shawl. He gives like the daughter the youngest daughter a bunny rabbit. Well, he gives Charlie like this emerald ring, and even during that scene, he like pulls her in close and puts it on her finger in a very marriage-esque way. Like, and I think that was done. At first, I was like, "What the heck? Why is it doing that?" I think it was done to kind of highlight how there can be something kind of darker hiding underneath the surface of something innocent. Because I think Uncle Charlie was portrayed as being creepy. I don't think the niece. I think she's just innocent and she kind of she's like enamored with her uncle, but not in a creepy way.
Yeah.
Whereas the uncle, who knows better,
Yeah.
is pulling her into these shots that feel almost romantic. And
do you think Hitchcock knew what he was doing with this?
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, Hitchcock
It wasn't like a weird thing of the time back then.
I
like
think this
very
was
deliberate.
intentional. I think like if you look at other Hitchcock films, he's not afraid to even engage with that subtext. Like look at Psycho. Like there's definitely an incestuous subtext with Psycho as well, with the mother and the. I'm not saying that there was any actual incest occurring, but I feel like it was supposed to be something.
I mean, there's a power dynamic. I'm sure
there's a power dynamic
between the uncle and the niece.
It's supposed to make you raise your eyebrows. That's what I think, and I think it's supposed to make you go, "Oh, there's this innocence." But there's also like this darker figure.
Yeah. It's supposed to show like that they have a special relationship, like
right,
you know. But then
there's like a darker.
But then there's a darker tone to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think
Very
that kind of
creepy.
goes back to the theme. There's like this idyllic small town, but then there's something darker lurking in the shadows, and that's the contrast that I found was the biggest difference between M and Shadow of a Doubt. Shadow of a Doubt starts out slow. I'll be honest. It starts out kind of, it lulls you into the state of like, just kind of like, oh, this is just a small, warm, idyllic town with boring things happening. And then it builds to this cynicism.
Yeah. And
whereas with M, it was cynical from the beginning.
Yeah. And the thing with Shadow of a Doubt, I mean, that's probably a criticism, I think, is that the beginning of the movie is a little slow. And then the other thing is the whole point of the film Shadow of a Doubt is that there's doubt like whether Uncle Charlie is a criminal, like did he do all these horrible things or did he not? But I never really got that. I kind of got like, oh, it's obvious that he got it because he's obviously acting like he's not innocent. He's guilty for sure.
Well, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I wonder if Hitchcock was kind of trying to play off of those words like, oh, it's not saying that there's a shadow of a doubt that he's the murderer. It's more like Charlie is experiencing what it's like to have doubt about somebody. And so it's like she's cast under a shadow.
Yeah, so you kind of
like a pun.
Like you're like what she thought before and now she's having doubt about who he actually is as a person.
Yeah.
And the qualities that she thought he had were not actually what he had. He's actually a evil person.
Right, which I would say she shines as a character and as an actress once she stops being enamored with Uncle Charlie and once she starts putting it together. Oh, he grabbed me really rough when I was looking at this newspaper.
There's a little bit of melodrama in the film, a little bit. And I think that's kind of what made me laugh a little bit when we were like, because you were wondering, why are you laughing at this? I don't know why, but
Yeah.
part of me just kind of laughed a little bit at the melodrama, but she is a great actress.
Yeah.
I thought her performance was really good. There were just a few moments that did kind of pull me out a little bit with that, but I think that's more just of the time and the style.
Right. Well, and I didn't feel like she shone until you start see her
until
going,
it switches.
Till it switches, because
yeah.
at first she's just this enamored,
And
naive.
it's like not even that interesting of a character.
Yeah, it's like, but then suddenly you see, oh, her world shatters, and suddenly it expands, and she suddenly is like, oh my gosh, my uncle is a murderer, this merry widow murderer.
Yeah.
And then the film all becomes, what is she gonna do?
Which that makes the film like way more interesting.
Yes.
When it flips that switch, and the fact that she's the only one that's like seeing what's going on. She's the only one that sees, who Uncle Charlie is. Everybody else is just completely oblivious.
Yeah. Now, kind of cutting forward to what the conclusion of the film, there was an alternate suspect being pursued by the police. We find out that they ran into an airplane propeller and died as they were trying to.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We're trying to evade the police, and suddenly it takes all the pressure off. Suddenly, the police are saying, "Oh, that was the Mary."
But
Will.
not off Charlie, the niece.
Right. And suddenly she's going, "Oh, I could really let my uncle get away." And the reason why it's such an issue for her is because of her mother. Her mother is presented as this very fragile woman who really, really depends on her Uncle Charlie for like moral support, I guess you would say. And
they love each other. They're siblings. So
Yeah.
she loves her brother Charlie.
right.
And I think what you're about to say is that Charlie and the niece is like, oh, maybe I shouldn't take him away because this is going to destroy my mom.
And ultimately, what ends up happening, spoilers, I mean, you hopefully you've watched the film at this point. Ultimately, what ends up happening is Uncle Charlie kind of strong arms the niece Charlie to stay on this train as it's departing because he's leaving town. He is trying to push her off the train to kill her.
This is crazy.
And it's like, why? At this point, you're getting away. And to me, that shows you his true evil.
Well, I think he
nature.
I think he realized that she's not gonna be quiet. She's gonna.
You think she would have told?
I think she would have told.
Interesting.
And I think that's why he did that. And then earlier in the film, there's also another. Well, there's a few times that Charlie tries to kill his niece with the stairs.
Yeah.
He tries to make her fall, and then the other time in the garage, he leaves the car on and tries to kill her from the fumes from the car.
Yeah.
So,
there's a couple of times where he tries to kill
her. And
her.
it's like, okay, you've already tried to kill your niece like twice.
Right. And to her credit, she does not back down. She shows him that she knows what he is. She wants him to get the heck out of there, and she does not back down. And he's like, "No, I'm staying." And there's this wonderful scene. Calling back, he gifted her this ring.
Yeah.
Well, the ring, we discover, has the initials of one of his murder victims. And there's this wonderful scene where he's taken the ring back from her because he discovers this with her. And she goes up into his room. She gets the ring. And they're just having this party after Uncle Charlie like gave a speech. And she comes down the stairwell and she shows him that she's wearing the ring.
Yeah.
And it's like such a power move. And I thought that was a really cool scene.
Well, one of the reasons why Charlie the uncle leaves actually is because that widow, that rich widow, is leaving.
Exactly.
And then he's like, "Oh, I'm actually gonna do this because I'm a nice guy and I want to help my sister." But he's actually following this lady to get her money.
Yeah, there's this rich widow in town who also happens to be going where Uncle Charlie is going.
Yeah, because those are his victims. He kills rich widows and then he gets all their money. That's kind of his racket.
Right. Which
you find out.
There's this crazy quote that I'm going to read, which it's like, at this point in the film, we're supposed to be kind of with the niece discovering that he is a murderer. And we're kind of hoping, oh, maybe she's wrong. Well, this seals the deal when he says this.
Women keep busy in towns like this. The cities, it's different. The cities are full of women, middle-aged, widows, husbands dead.
Husbands who've spent their lives making fortunes, working and working. Then they die and leave their money to their wives, their silly wives. And what do the wives do, these useless women? You see them in the hotels, the best hotels every day by the thousands. Drinking the money, eating the money, losing the money at bridge, playing all day and all night, smelling of money. Proud of their jewelry, but of nothing else. Horrible. Faded, fat, greedy women.
But they're alive. They're human beings.
Are they?
And you're just like, oh my gosh. And he's saying this at the dinner table in front of everyone. He kind of lets his cover slip a little bit. And the thing that's so annoying is the mom is like, oh, Charles, like, how could you say such like awful things? And it's like, oh my gosh, he's literally admitting to being the murderer.
And this is this scene, that monologue that he gives at the table, and then he looks directly at the camera. That's the other. The other connection to M. When Peter Lorre looks at the camera, this is that kind of the similarities is that he looks directly into the camera, and it's like this intense shot.
And there's this moment where the mom almost seems like she's going to put it together when she realizes,
she's in the cab.
Somebody's messed with the steps at our house and maybe that wasn't like just an accident. And then my niece got trapped, or my daughter got trapped in the garage with the exhaust. And then she never puts it together.
I know, it's so
that would have been cool.
But
that would have been cool for her character.
It would have been a crazy scene to write that, like the tension between the brother and sister. But ultimately what ends up happening is on the train.
Charlie. On the train. Charlie falls and gets run over by another train, oncoming train.
The uncle does.
Uncle Charlie.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I think both of us, our mouths dropped. We were like, oh my gosh, what the heck? Because we weren't expecting that. And then the movie just ends like at his funeral.
Yeah, it cuts to the funeral and you hear the priest eulogizing him and saying how he's like a son of the town and wonderful. And it shows... Oh, one thing that we failed to mention is Charlie randomly has like this dalliance with the detective, this romance.
One of the detectives, which I thought was kind of...
It was forced.
It was a little forced. Yeah, it was weird.
But to her credit, she's like, let's take it slow. Let's be friends first.
Yeah.
But he's like, I'm in love with you, Charlie. You're like, what? You guys have had like 2 scenes together. But no.
And then he like left her for like the end of the movie for her to like... do all this stuff,
figure it out,
and then like she almost gets killed.
Well, he leaves like all these numbers for her to contact him on, but she can't
that was
through.
Another weird thing is like if they actually had a good relationship. It was just weird that I think it was probably just showing like this desperation, like she needed help from somebody on the inside and law enforcement.
Trying to build the tension,
but she had to do this like all on her own.
Yeah, but at the end, it's her and him talking outside the funeral service and basically admitting that they both knew that Uncle Charlie was the murderer, and then basically you hear the priest in the background just eulogizing how Charlie was a great man, and that's the end of the film. Thematically, I think the way that both films were linked is that they both have a lot to do with lost innocence and with evil lurking in the shadows of society. And I would probably give this film 2 thumbs up. I would give it out of 5. I'd probably give it a 4.5. Just because even though I think it was intentional for the beginning to be slow, like I think Hitchcock wanted you to settle into this idyllic town and kind of feel its slowness and how, time is different in a small town. Like, but it's a little too slow. That's the only thing that would prevent me from giving it a 5 out of 5. But definitely highly recommend the film. Definitely makes you wonder, what would you do if you were in these circumstances? Would you rat out your uncle? What would you do? Would you?
Yeah.
I 100% would. Yeah.
Like how he's so weird, like he's so inappropriate, but I mean, this is the great thing about Hitchcock films, and if you've seen any of them, his stories take regular people and throw them into just crazy situations and then see what they do. I mean, if you think about almost all of his films do that. So
that's so true.
It's kind of like a through line that Hitchcock does, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah. Very different films. and yet they have a lot that you can compare.
Yeah, and I think both the films too, and how they compare is like they're both about murder. They're both about how are people going to react to these things. What will people do? Human nature and
yeah, and it's
stuff like
interesting
that,
because
so.
when the murderer in M gives his monologue, it almost makes you feel empathy for him.
Yeah.
When Uncle Charlie gives his
You
monologue
don't-
about
yeah.
fat, faded women who are basically like livestock, you're like, whoa, I have no empathy
Yeah,
for
you don't
this
have
guy.
any empathy for
Yeah,
Charlie.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I have to say about my film.
Yeah,
Did you enjoy the film?
I enjoyed both of the films. Yeah, I think I will say I liked M way more.
Really?
For sure.
Way
Yeah.
more. Yeah.
I think it has more. It had way more of an impact, I think, on cinema as far as like looking out like a longer view. But Shadow of a Doubt is still a great film. If you're a fan of Hitchcock, you'll like it a lot.
It was Alfred Hitchcock's favorite film.
Oh,
he
that's right. You
produced.
told me that.
And Teresa Wright also said it was her favorite film that she was in. So
Well, M was Fritz Lang's favorite film.
Was it really?
Yeah, I read that too. Like M was.
Wow.
Yeah, M. Fritz Lang said that was his like magnus opus.
that makes sense. It's a great film.
Yeah.
I need to see Metropolis.
Yeah, we need to watch that. Maybe
Maybe
we'll
that
watch
could be
that
one
later.
of ours. Yeah. All right. Well, next episode we will be doing a music episode.
Mm-hmm.
Cole will be choosing an album, and then I'll be choosing an album to pair with it. So if you want to join us for that, join us in 2 weeks. The next Tuesday, is that what we've decided on the release schedule?
I think so.
Every second Tuesday, or every 2 weeks on a Tuesday is what we're releasing these podcasts on.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
so-
And anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. Yeah, go watch them. Let us know what you think. Like, subscribe. Please share the podcast. And something that will help us out is if you go on, specifically on Spotify, if you go on there, you can rate the podcast. That'll help us out just if you do that.
and,
So thanks.
and Apple or whatever, wherever you get your podcasts.
Yep. So thanks. We'll see you guys next week.
See ya.